and dynamic convener. It's already seated. I also have the privilege of announcing or recognizing the presence of the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Ambassador Yemi Forovi. Please, if he's around, can we welcome him to the reserve table, please? Let's put our hands together for Ambassador Yemi. Is he around? All right, I was reliably informed that he's still on his way. Permit me also to recognize the General Secretary of the RG, TRG, Deputy the General Secretary, D.I.Y. Wednesday. Please, let's put our hands together for D.I.Y. Wednesday. If he's around, let's let him make his way to the reserve table. I think he's also on his way. We also have the honor of recognizing the presence of the Deputy General Secretary, the person of Ololu.
Whichever way.
Okay, Olaoluwa. Is he around? Please, let's put our hands together for him, sir. Please, your way to the reserve table. Thank you. Please, let's appreciate him, please. Let's appreciate him. Very wonderful personality with a great flair, even in the midst of people. As soon as he came in, I just noticed him by the way he was just dancing and exchanging pleasantries with people. Please, let's put our hands together one more time. Thank you very much, sir. Then I have the Director of Operations. I saw him moving around, making sure that everything is well seated and everything is well organized. Very respected man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Colonel CBD Waziri retired. Please, let's put our hands together for him as he's making his way to the reserve table too. All right, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen, I also have the Director of Publicity and Media Relations of TRG, Dr. Abiola Ajibola. Please, let's put our hands together for him as he's making his way to the reserve table. Dr. Abiola Ajibola. Okay, thank you, sir. Then I have the Director of Research and Development of PRG. I have the honor of recognizing the presence of Dr. Peter Zira. Is Peter Zira around? All right, Peter Zira is still on his way too. Then I also have the honor of recognizing the Director of Finance. All right, wherever money is mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, money, mothers or women are the custodians of finances, even in our homes and everywhere, and they are prudent in whatsoever they dispense. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mrs. Ngozi Biodun Oguntayo. Please, let's put our hands together for her. Make welcome to the reserve table, please. Is she around? All right, she will soon be around. These are the team, the Rebirth Group team, and we also have all right, at this time I will hand over to
yes. In everything we need to put God before, during, and after whatever we want to do. Yes, we still want to do it now. Incidentally, we are in a season where Lent and Ramadan are being observed. So for that reason, I have the pleasure to call on a chaplain, Commodore Henry. So I have the pleasure to call on the chaplain, Commodore Henry Miri, to please come and place us in the hands of the Almighty God. Chaplain, please give him a round of applause as he comes up to invite the Almighty God to be in our midst this morning as we want to continue. And of course, he will give us the Christian version of the prayer, while Al-Haji Ibrahim Yusuf, chairman of Makman, should be preparing to follow suit in the Muslim way. Welcome, chaplain.
Thank you. To God be the glory, great things he has done, so loved he the world that he gave us his son. Oh, yeah, that is life, atonement for sin, and open the life gate that all may go in. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let them hear his voice. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, let the people rejoice. Oh, come to the Father through Jesus the Son, and give him the glory. Great things he has done. Yes, Lord, this morning, in humble adoration, we assert the fact that you are God. We bless your name for who you are and for what we are in you. We glorify your name because it has been in your heart that today TRG will be gathering us here. And because of that, we want to invite your spirit and your presence amidst us this morning. We can do nothing without you. So we ask for your leadership. As we start this meeting, Father, you have been here with us and you will be with us until we are through with this gathering. We pray for those who are supposed to be here. You will direct them so that they will be here and for the purpose why you have made them to be part of this program. Give us the grace to stay. Give us the grace to hear. Give us the grace to implement. Renew our strength as we start. We pray this through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Thank you very much. Please, Alhaji Ibrahim, you can come over so that we do it the Muslim way. Thank you very much once again, Chaplain. Welcome.
صلوا على النبي الكريم اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت ورحمت وباركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر الحاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Please, let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much. All right, this is a very wonderful opportunity to meet as leaders from various states, most especially in the North Central. And we have our guests. Most are seated here. Permit me to recognize and invite to the reserve table. Ladies and gentlemen, we have in our midst one woman that have written her name in the sands of time when it has to do with academics in Nigeria. Please, let's invite to the reserve table Professor Patricia Lar. She's a former acting VC, Uni Abuja. Please, let's put our hands together for our mother. Please, let's invite her to the reserve table. Let's keep clapping. Let's keep clapping as she makes her way to the reserve table. Thank you. I don't know if someone can... Mommy, please, mind your steps. Thank you. Thank you. Then I also have one also who has a great academia and also has given many the impetus, most especially in the academic world, to stand tall as people and as a nation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's invite to the podium Professor Do Johnson, Bingham University, Abuja. Please, let's put our hands together for Prof. Let's put our hands together for Prof as he makes his way to the podium. Let's appreciate. 1, 2. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. You are most welcome, sir. Yes, sir. Then we also have all the way from the Plateau State government, the Office of the Executive Governor of Plateau State, we have Honorable Esther Simidusu. If she's around, please let's put our hands together for her as she makes her way to the reserve table too. All right, I also have one of the lead peace builder in Nigeria, who is being a bridge builder. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Elias Lamley, is he around? Professor Elias Lamley, is he around? Let's put our hands together for him in absentia. Thank you. Then I also have one of the vibrant young personalities in Nigeria that is also making waves and writing his name in the sands of time, most especially making sure Nigeria is unified under one umbrella. I have Comrade Ibrahim Gagarawa. He's the ROS and the APM founder GYIC. If he's around, please, let him make his way to the reserve table. A round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen. All right, thank you. Okay. Then I have one of the doggest women, most especially when it has to do with the female gender in Plateau State. Her name is synonymous with women, and also she's a woman activist, and she's also making sure that the woman should definitely have her place in Nigeria. Any gathering you go, you don't find women, please just carry your bag or tell your PA to leave that particular gathering. This woman has done so well, and she is one of keynote speakers, and though she is represented here, but this particular woman is Princess Halima Turaki. She is the president and founder of Voice of Women Nigeria, but ably represented by the National Secretary, Mrs. Joy Teso. Please, let's put our hands together for her as she makes her way to the reserve table. Let's put our hands together for Mrs. Joy Teso, representing Princess Halima Turaki, the founder, President, Voice of Women, Nigeria. All right, very quickly, I think we have most of our keynote speakers here, and there's this person that I so much respect. He's also a leading voice, most especially in northern Nigeria, but his voice has gone beyond northern Nigeria and speaking for the country at large and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one man whose voice is not just speaking for himself, but speaking for a lot of voiceless persons and personality around the country. He is not just an advocate, he is not just a philanthropist, he is not just a clergyman, he is also a prophet. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor. I know he's still on his way. We'll soon be having the presence of our leader, the founder of IBBN, the founder of EBOMI, and also a lot of initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the presence of Prophet Isa El-Buba. Please, let's put our hands together for him. I was just reliably informed that he's on his way to this event. And then we have our grand... let me say the leader of this wonderful state and the leader of the political spec of this wonderful state, talking about our able governor in the person of Barrister Caleb Manasseh Motfwan. Please, let's put our hands together for him. And I know a representative will be here, or he will be here in person in a short while. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be, before we continue, I will be handing over. Sorry, I didn't forget, but I know his representative is already here, talking about the president of Middle Belt Forum and the chairman of this wonderful occasion, Dr. Bitrus Pogo. Please, let's put our hands together for him, represented here. Thank you very much, Daddy, for coming. All right. Before we continue, this is a call for all Nigerians to gather together, and the people seated here are also great men and women. Then we also have in our midst, ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate the presence of Mr. Henry H. Mbayo from Unimate. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Let's appreciate him, please. He is here. Please, if you're here, just wave. Thank you very much. God bless you. Yes, University of Maiduguri. All right. Then I also have Honorable David I. Ogun, ICDA. Please, can you just wave? Let's put our hands together for him too. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you. Then I also have the presence of Professor Ejeku E.O., the CIMBO, also present here. Prof, please, can you just wave? Thank you. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you. All right. Prof, I was reliably informed that please you can come to the reserve table. Thank you very much, Prof. Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, Prof. Thank you. Please, let's put our hands together for him as he's making his way to the reserve table. Then I also have Mr. David Chai. This name sounds like Chinese. Pardon me, please. Let's put our hands together for Mr. David Chai from TIDA. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome, Prof. Thank you, sir. Then I also have the honor of having the presence of Navy Commodore Godwin Obaje. Please, let's put our hands together for him. He is a Okogo Igala Organization National Secretary. Please, let's appreciate him, please. Can you just wave, sir? Thank you very much. God bless you, sir. Then I also have the presence of Mr. Eze Law. He is the Eze Igbo Just South. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Let's put Dede. You are most welcome, sir. Thank you. God bless you. Then I also have Mr. Ibrahim Yusuf from Magban. Mr. Ibrahim Yusuf. Please, can you just wave? Thank you, please. You are most welcome, sir. Thank you. Then I also have Sir Philibus Mandong, Sir Bolo Bukuru. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Sir, please, can you come to the high table? I was reliably informed. Sir Bolo Bukuru, Philibus, please. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, sir. Then I also have Nda Yusuf Dabis, the Mishkaham Miship Just South. Please, let's put our hands together for him. Wherever you are, thank you very much. You are most welcome. Welcome, sir. You are most welcome, sir. Then I also have few recognitions here also. Hajia Fatima Abubakar, she's the lead women for peace. If she's around, please, can she wave? You are most welcome. Thank you very much, Hajia. Then I also have Emily Neji. She's the state coordinator, Visionary Women. Is she around? Thank you very much. You are most welcome. Thank you for coming. Then representing His Royal Highness, Her Royal Highness Queen Esther, we have Ocholu Ogero, Visionary Woman. Okay. It's not clear. But however, representing Her Royal Highness Queen Esther, Ochole Ogero, is she around? Is she around, please? Probably she's on her way. Then all Voice of Women represented here, can you just wave? All Voice of Women represented. Thank you. God bless you from the National Board Order. I think we are done with recognition, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much once again. We really, really appreciate your coming and participation. We look forward to a very robust discourse. We now want to call on the chairman, local organizing committee of this program, in person of Colonel Clement Waziri, retired. Colonel C.D. Waziri, please come to welcome our guest. Thank you. Please, can we give him a round of applause as he comes?
Thank you very much, the only comrade. The Executive Governor of Plateau State, we are still hoping for his presence or a representation. The President, Middle Belt Forum, Dr. Beatrice Pogu, ably represented by my elder brother. The convener, the Ribat Group, Dikin Owolabi Oladejo, members of National Assembly represented, members of the State Assembly also represented, members of Plateau State Executive Council represented, the members of our traditional institutions that are here, members of all the ethnic nationalities that are also here and or represented, members of the women group. I particularly had to salute this group of Nigerians, because if you want peace, be at peace with a woman. So I particularly recognize all of you. Members of the press, my lords, spiritual and temporal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with a heart of gratitude to God Almighty that I stand here to welcome every one of you to Jos and to Bukuru Yelwa Club in particular. The venue of this all-important meeting is actually an August meeting taking place in March. I am delighted to see every one of you here, and it's our honor and indeed a great privilege to have you honor our invitations. The business at hand has to do with restructuring our dear country, Nigeria. And that is why we carefully chose the theme, restructuring, a veritable path to Nigeria of our dream. So as we gather here, without preempting our resource persons, it is my sincere hope that we are going to deliberate sincerely and frankly, and we are going to speak truth to ourselves, because the situation at hand concerns all of us. It is commonly said that he who wears the shoes knows where it pinches. And in this situation, all of us are wearing that shoe. So we all know where it is pinches. So it is my sincere hope that we're going to talk to each other frankly, truthfully, and sincerely in the course of this meeting. I wish us all successful and fruitful deliberations. Once again, you are welcome to this very important meeting. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, the Chairman Planning Committee. All right, that was the voice of Colonel Waziri. Very quickly, before we invite the great convener of this wonderful summit and meeting, I think we omitted one of the programs, so permit us, before our keynote speakers will start coming up, let's take the national anthem. Gid, if you're ready, please let's have it. Please can we all be on our feet as we have the national anthem. Thank you.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land.
thank you very much for standing up for the national anthem. All right, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is a call for every one of us to be proactive, to make sure we stand out and make the difference in our country. And no wonder the TRG group, it's bringing this, most especially to the Middle Belt, to make sure our heads are together. I saw the one of our South and other zones. So this time around, before we have our convener, I'm trying to delay a little bit because I want to do is I'll be coming in to hear what our convener will be saying. For us to harness whatsoever we have a lot of veterans, we have a lot of fathers here, we have a lot of personalities that are here, and big brains, great brains and great minds. So ladies and gentlemen, we shall be talking to ourselves and receiving the insight from the people that will be speaking to us on how this country will be. We must not be thousands, but the number of people that are here, will make sure that this really happens. I also have the presence of Alhaji Ibrahim Yusuf Magban. I recognized him earlier on. Thank you very much. God bless you. So I'm trying to say that this is restructuring, is a veritable pathway to Nigeria of our dream. And everybody wants a very good dream, and we all need to work together. So very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to recognize the entrance of one of the leading voice when it has to do with a better Nigeria, when it has to do with greater Nigeria, in Nigeria, the North Central, and all over. Ladies and gentlemen, come on, let's put our hands together for our daddy, Prophet Isa El-Buba. Please, let's put our hands together for him as he walks down the aisle and to the stage. Please, let's appreciate him. Let's appreciate his presence. We are not taking his presence here for granted, and it is so great and amazing one more time to meet him, most especially in this kind of discussions. Please, let's be seated. Okay, I was asked to please invite Alhaji Yusuf Magban to the high table. Thank you very much. Please, to the high table quickly. Thank you, and God bless you. All right, we are all seated, and we've invited the Most High to also sit with us. So at this time, we're going to be hearing the voice of our great convener. Ladies and gentlemen, this man sat down and sought the insight on whatsoever it is that will better off this Nigeria. So ladies and gentlemen, the convener of this wonderful event, Chief Odikin Owolabi Oladejo. Please, let's put our hands together for him.
Good morning, all. One, let me say I'm excited. And the reason is very simple. Before I go on, let me recognize the people on the high table, starting from the one and only Prophet El-Buba. Thank you for gracing our occasion. I want to thank my prof. I don't want to tell you that he gave me dinner yesterday night. Prof, do I thank you for coming or thank you for the food? Okay, I want to thank you for the two. Thank you, sir. The name is unique. When I say unique, you realize I had my breath. The name La, I wonder if there is anybody that is more than 18 years old in Nigeria that we say, I've not heard that name before. I don't think so. So, Mommy, thank you for coming. Everybody on the high table, my brother Magban, I welcome all of you. My speech is simple. Welcoming each and every one of us to tell us that this is the 6th in the series. We've been to Ibadan, we went to Kaduna, we went to Enugu, we went to Gombe, we went to Port Harcourt. This is the final in the series of the zonal meetings. And all we are saying is this the best Nigeria can be? If no, what do we do? The first 5 symposia spoke very remarkably. They all call for autonomous regions, structured into 6 or 8 federating units. The 5 symposia agreed that that's a viable way to restoring balance, productivity, stability in Nigeria. This is not born out of sentiment. It's born out of experience. Yet, as our consultation deepened, it became clear that the conversation is evolving. Many respected stakeholders across several regions, drawn from past experiences, expressed a different but equally sincere view. Some want existing states to remain as federating units, provided they will be autonomous. Their position is simple. Based on the past experience in the hand of regional overlords, they are afraid. We respect their concern, but we must ask a difficult question. Can most states, as presently structured, sustain true fiscal and security autonomy? The North Central is not merely a venue to us. It symbolizes both Nigeria's promise and its pains. Coexistence and tension, it is a metaphor. A place where questions of land identity, insecurity, resource control are not abstract debates. They are lived experiences. Today, we must directly confront what we sometimes want to avoid: the vexed issues of land ownership, mineral resource management, and how North Central can truly become the belt that will hold the country together, not by coercion, but by the consent of the governed, grounded in social reality. In 1958, the Wheeling Commission acknowledged minorities' fear and recommended safeguards: fears of political, social, economic domination, fears of insecurity, fears of displacement, existential fears. Those concerns have not disappeared. Rather, in many aspects, they have deepened. Nigeria's challenge has never been its diversity, but the management of this diversity. Our difficulty has been failure to align political structures with cultural compatibility, economic viability, and administrative pragmatism. No federation can endure where the question of land ownership is not justly settled, where the owners of the land feel like spectators in the management of their ancestral assets. Nigeria functioned most competitively and productively when regions were strong. We must be honest enough to admit that multiplying states did not resolve structural imbalance. It fragmented administrative units while consolidating power at the center. Autonomous region It's not about dismantling Nigeria. It's about redesigning Nigeria for its survival. When communities fear that their ancestral land can be taken, reclassified, overridden, or exploited without meaningful consent, then natural resource endowment become trigger for conflict. Restructuring ceased to be political demand. It has become existential necessity. Debates around restructuring are deeply tied to fears of marginalization, loss of cultural identity, and insecurity. For us in the Rebirth group, restructuring must go beyond slogans. It must confront the structure. Constitutional restructuring should not merely redraw administrative lines. It must address foundational issues. Durable federations grow from ground up, beginning with contiguous communities that share culture, social trust, and lived history, forming wards, and wards forming local government forming states, states forming region, and region becoming autonomous and viable economically, socially, and politically. For us, in TRG, what we are advocating is guaranteed regional autonomy, where regions exercise constitutional power over land administration, resource management, internal security, education, and cultural affairs. This will strengthen local ownerships and reduce perception of domination by distant authorities. Second, we believe in cooperative federalism. While autonomy is essential, regions must remain interdependent within a strong federal framework that coordinates defense, currency, interstate trade, national infrastructure, and where conflict resolution must be institutionalized. We believe in inclusive governance. Restructuring must safeguard minority rights within the regions. Autonomy should not empower local majority over local minority. Constitutional guarantees of representation, equal protection, equal access to justice and opportunity must be guaranteed. Professionalism and meritocracy. It's been discovered that heterogeneous communities thrive where governance is driven by competition rather than favoritism. Countries such as Switzerland, Singapore, China, Canada, United States have proven that professionalism and institutional merit foster economic growth, social harmony, and political stability. These principles, if guaranteed, will guarantee peace and progress. This sixth symposium must therefore move from debate to design. It is a precursor to the planned All-Nigerian Summit, where Article of Federation will be debated, adopted, and signed as foundational document that will birth federated regions of Nigeria. The times has come for us to be bold, embrace personal agency, be intentional about accepting responsibility and ownership over your life and your environment. Refuse to let anyone make you feel inferior or reduce you with the label of minority. You possess inalienable right as a human being to dignity, respect, and equal worth. Nigeria does not need cosmetic restructuring. We deserve governance structure that respects our right to life and our right to our assets. The present structure needs structural calibration, and that calibration we must do to restore strong autonomous region as the primary federating unit. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where TRG stands, and that is why we are here. We've been to 5 places, and almost all places have agreed that we must restructure into autonomous region. What is Middle Belt saying? Thank you, and God bless you.
I think that clap was just for the microphone. Please, can we make it louder? Let's make it louder. Thank you very much. Please, if you are the car owner, registration number BCD986ST, Honda Baby Boy, please, your attention is rightly needed outside very quickly. Sorry, before we have a lot of recognitions, but at this time we're going to pause and also go straight to the next event. And actually, our chairman was supposed to give a welcome address. Please, chairman, please, I beg you. So let's have the keynote speaking first before you come up, sir, if you don't mind. That is not even understanding. Okay. Please, let's put our hands together for him briefly. He's already up. Briefly, please. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
The convener of TRG, Deacon Olabi Oladejo, Professor Elbuba, I say professor, sorry, Prophet Isa Elbuba. Let me take this chance to thank you for end of last year. We had a small, very brief meeting, and because I wasn't the leader of that delegation, I couldn't thank you personally. Let me seize the opportunity to say thank you for hosting us the other day. My sister, Professor La, thank you. My friend, Professor Shefu. Yeah, welcome. We'll meet again. Thank you, members of the high table. Thank you for coming. I don't like protocols, but thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emmanuel Alamo of the Middle Belt Forum. I came to Jos on Saturday to attend a social event for a friend. And then yesterday, Dr. Pogo Bitrus called me to say he is not able to make it to Jos for this program, and that I should stand in for him. And he sends in what he had written for me to read. I spoke with Connell, the local organizing committee chairman, whether I could get a business center around here this morning so that I could print. The import of this is that I didn't even get the chance to read it myself. And it's quite big. I am not academic. But what I will try to do, I can't speak to it because I'm not the author. But what I will try to do is read some part of it, try to skip some, not because they are not important, but because we can't take too much of our time. We already wasted enough time. And try to go towards the end and read what I thought that I would think that is the position of the Middle Belt on restructuring. The last time you had that of the Northwest in Kaduna, I also represented the president. But you see, at that time, I had the mandate to speak. I spoke off tempo, but I spoke. Today is not going to be the same. Finally, before I go into the paper, Deacon Oladejo will one breath call us North Central. In the next, you call us Middle Belt. I have told you time without numbers. We are the people of the Middle Belt. Yes, we occupy the central of Nigeria, but we prefer to be identified as the Middle Belt. Thank you. Restructuring, a veritable path to the Nigeria of our dream. Text of a keynote address by Dr. Pogo Bitrus of the Middle Belt Forum at a symposium of the Ribat Group at the Yelwa Club, Bokuru Jos, on March 3, 2026. I appreciate the Ribat Group for putting together this symposium. It is an exercise that is patriotic and responsible, given the myriad of challenges that Nigeria faces today. One major headache that Nigeria faces today is the national question. 65 years after political independence, the Nigerians identifying as Nigeria first before any other identity. The answer is no. If the answer is indeed no, why? At the base of the national question is the fact that Nigeria is an organic construct. The people called Nigerians today were not consulted before Britain proclaimed their lands as the southern and northern protectorates of Nigeria in Berlin in 1876. Before the lands so proclaimed were simply to serve the interests of Britain and nothing else. To administer Nigeria, Britain resorted to indirect rule, which it had fine-tuned in India. The kind of rule depends on the colonizer going through local chieftains to administer land, which makes a lot of economic sense. Britain did not need to import large number of administrators to rule. I am sure that different parts of Nigeria have their own takes on the amalgamation. But for us in the Middle Belt, that amalgamation was beginning of the road to hell. The Middle Belt. The Middle Belt are the peoples that are not Hausa, Fulani, or Kanuri, and that were not under the suzerainty of the Sokoto Caliphate or Kanuri Sultanate at the onset of colonial rule at the beginning of the 20th century. The working of indirect rule necessitated the design of the British that these peoples who were never under the Caliphate or Sultanate be brought under either. What this resulted in is that the people that were brought under the administration of the Caliphate and Sultanate suffered double colonization. British colonization and colonization under the Caliphate or Sultanate. Before the beginning, the area we refer to as Middle Belt is essentially central Nigeria, serving as the exit between the south and north of Nigeria. It comprises the states of Kwara, Kogi, Niger, Federal Capital Territory, Nasarawa, Benue, Plateau, Gombe, Taraba, and Adamawa, as well as a significant portions of the states of Kebbi, Sokoto, Bauchi, Yobe, and Borno. These are continually contiguous areas that form an unbroken stretch of territory. What sets the Middle Belt apart from northern Nigeria is that it comprises of peoples that are not Hausa, Fulani, or Kanuri, that existed in the main independent of Sokoto Caliphate and the Kanuri Sultanate, but were willy-nilly incorporated into them, as by the British colonial strategy direct rule in the early 20th century. When the British were exiting Nigeria in 1960, the injustice that they engendered when they put peoples that were never conquered by either the Caliphate or Sultanate under two was not undone. That is, the British did not undo this. They just left us like that under these two supposedly leaders. The earliest demands for autonomy from the Caliphate and Sultanate came in 1908 from traditional rulers in Lele, in contemporary southern Bauchi, of the Hagi, Chamba, Kilba, and present-day Adamawa state, and of the Zongon Kataf of the contemporary Kaduna state. The British colonial administration rebuffed those early attempts. After the Second World War, when the fervor for independence was brewing, the agitation by leaders of the Middle Belt and Southern minorities led to the creation of the commission by the British-led Sir Henry Willis. You remember the Willis Commission of 1957. During the period, two budding organizations, the Middle Belt Zone League, that is MZL, and the Middle Belt People's Party, MBPP, merged to create the United Middle Belt Congress, led by pioneers like Joseph Tucker, David Lott, Patrick Doherty, Reverend Modi, Akasa Dogo, Patrick Edward Kunduswen, Ahmadu Angara, Dr. Isaac Shahu. Others are Ado Ibrahim, Malam Haruna Gomna Awan, as the late chief of Kagoro, Malam Dauda Kwai, Yarima Bala, Jonah Asadugu, Paul Bassi, Joli Tanko Yusuf, J.S. Ambazin, Akase Paul Onongo, we remember him, Bello Ijimu, Uba Oje, Vincent, and so on and so on. The UMBC was created to provide alternative voice to the Northern People's Congress, the MPC, led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Sir Ahmad Bello. Although the UMBC managed to win a few seats in the pre-independence general elections, the MPC inherited political power from the British after going into the alliance with Nnamdi Azikwe's National Convention of Nigerian Citizens, NCNC. Now, it goes on to talk about the history of that pre-colonial, moving into the post-colonial period. And then in 1958, Constitutional Conference adopted that, one, fundamental human rights would be incorporated into the Constitution. Two, Nigeria will be independent in 1980. Three, referendum will determine the status of Southern and Northern Cameroons. And finally, proposals on the process of leading to the amendment of the Constitution and boundary adjustment was finalized. It was in 1963, or until 1963, that the minorities began to get into the picture with the creation of a Midwestern region, we remember? For some Southern minorities from the Western region, bringing the number of regions to 4. Because, of course, we had the Northern region, the Western region, the Eastern region, and then we now have the Midwestern region. And then we now have General Yakubu Gowon as military head of state coming in 1966 up to 1975 to establish, to abolish the 4 regions and then created 12 states in their state instead of the regions. And then we have the Murtala Obasanjo regime. We now have the Babangida regime, which culminated into the Abacha regime that took us to the present day 36 states plus FCT. First Republic. The First Republic was a fiesta struggle within the political class that included trial and conviction of the leader of opposition, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the Thief Uprising, the emergence of the Wild Wild West, as the riots of the Yoruba-dominated Western region was dubbed, the military government that took over from the politicians after the short 6 months stint of Major General Thomas Agui Ironsi, the military government of General Yakubu Gowon attempted to douse the interregional rivalry that existed by creating 12 states from the 4 regions that were in existence. Although Kwara and Benue Plateau states which are Middle Belt states, were created, the marginalization that the Middle Belt had always complained about was not ameliorated in any way, as the power relations between Caliphate and Sultanate vis-a-vis the Middle Belt was not affected in any way. And as indicated above, further states were created by the military regime led by General Ibrahim Babangida and General Sani Abacha. Like I said, I will just keep trying to skip some so that we can finish this as soon as I can. I want to go on to, yes, I want to go on to the position, as it were, of the Middle Belt Forum on the restructuring. And it sums up in this way: the Nigeria of our dream. The Nigeria of our dream will be one in which there are no second-class citizens. There are a few questions that I want to pose here. One, are there real federating units in Nigeria, given that the country itself was forcibly created by a foreign power and the sub-regional units that states and local governments created by fiat of the military governments? Are the states and local government areas organic creations and therefore permanent? Are the states today not surplus or not surplus to requirements? Now we of the Middle Belt Forum have always thought that we actually do not need states. What we prefer is to have the federal government and the local governments. And we thought that if you had this, you will have returned power to the grassroots, to the people. Because if you had the state, what you have is a duplication of what you have in the federal government. You have a federal government, whatever you have a Minister of Education in federal government, you come to the state, you have a Minister of Education, and then the people that really matter at the grassroots, the local governments, you leave them practically with nothing. So we thought that if we eliminated that, and of course, there are economies that run the UK, for instance, run the county system, not the state system. That is what we advocate for. It is not possible to do away with the states, or is it not possible to do away with the state in favor of regions, including Middle Belt West and Middle Belt East, if the local government areas are the primary centers of government? A prominent cause of conflict that the state exemplify will have been taken out of the equation. If the local government areas become the drivers of development and contributing to common services at the regional level, we may finally unleash the giant in Nigeria. States come into being by different means. The United States of America, for instance, came into being through migrants from Britain and men in the main who migrated from one continent to another. The different states of Africa, save the few, were carved out of the Berlin Conference of 1885-86, separating the kith and kin in different instances. That Nigeria was funded by the British should not automatically mean that the country cannot work. If there are enough men and women of goodwill who are willing to live and to let others live, Nigeria can indeed work. All we need is identify what is our current practice and what in our current practice are not working for us. Tweak them or do away with them. The idea of one North is one that was designed to hold the people of the Middle Belt in perpetual bondage to the Fulani and Kanuri. Obviously, this is not something that we can afford to let stand, and it is as such not sustainable. Thank you very much. Sorry, it's a long read. Like I said, I've had to skip plenty, but I will give the organizers this copy. I don't know what they want to do with it. At least they will have a true representation of what Dr. Pogu wanted to convey to you. Thank you so very much.
Please, let's put our hands together for him. All right, very quickly, we have our father and a keynote speaker already seated here. Before then, we have the leaders of IBB and Plateau State represented here, and Ebomi also represented, where our father is, our leader generally. This is a man that carries the burdens of not just a few persons, but the burden of thousands of people in Nigeria, whose heart is so large that his voice is so loud. Even I saw a video of him, I think last 2 weeks during the protest. He was tear gassed in Nigeria. That's to tell you how dogged our father is to make sure that Nigeria works. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to invite to the podium our father, the leader of Ebomi, the leader of IBBN and other initiative, where there we would breed, we are new breed without greed. Prophet Isa El-Buba. Please, let's put our hands together for Daddy as he comes up. Thank you very much, sir.
For the privilege I've been given, I'm going to be very brief today. I have been up since 9:30. My chief detail has been here monitoring how events are going. And it was a very tight moment for me to be able to dedicate this time. But I want to appreciate the organizers and the privilege I've been given. Today, I'm speaking on restructuring, a veritable part to Nigeria of our dream. Distinguished leaders, chairman of the occasion, respected traditional rulers, members of the civil society that are here, youth and women leaders, compatriots from the Middle Belt and beyond that are all here. The founder of TRG, I stand before you deeply honored to serve as the lead speaker at this critical symposium. Our theme is restructuring, a veritable part to the Nigeria of our dream. It's not merely a political slogan, it is a national necessity. Nigeria stands as a defining moment. We are confronted with economic instability, insecurity, youth unemployment, fiscal imbalance, ethnic tensions, deepening corruption, shrinking democratic space, declining public trust in governance. Yet we are also blessed with extraordinary human capital, vast mineral resources, fertile agricultural land, and entrepreneurial resilience. The question is not whether Nigeria is blessed. The question is, can our current federal arrangement unlock this blessing? And I want to pause for a while. I am one person that don't just believe in talking and reading speeches, but we must make sure that we are practical people that make things happen. Because Nigeria is dotted with too many speeches and matters that have been spoken about have not been carried out. Today I address you on 5 major federalism. Number 3, confronting corruption, institutional capture. 4, addressing terrorism, banditry, armed violence without ethnic generalization. Building peace, justice, inclusion, and ensuring that this symposium produces action. And that's why when I've been following the time, I felt that this is really behind schedule. And if we're advocating for a new Nigeria, then basically whether it is one or two, the organizers of this program must always make sure that they stick to basic principle in engaging, further activities on this platform. So I'm going to say on part one, making the people count in the new federal arrangement. Nigeria operates a federal system in theory, but in practice, we function closer to a centralized structure. Today, the federal government controls over 60 items on the exclusive legislative list. States depend heavily on monthly allocation from Abuja. Over 70% of government revenue is federally collected before redistribution. Many states generate less than 30% of their budget internally. This creates dependency rather than productivity. What should restructuring mean to us? Restructuring should mean, number one, devolution of powers. Move key sectors such as policing, mining, rail, electricity transmission, an aspect of taxation to the states or to the region. Two, fiscal federalism. States should retain a higher percentage of revenue generated within their territories. Revenue sharing must reward productivity, transparency, and fiscal discipline. Three, state policing. Nigeria has roughly 370,000 police officers for over 300 million people. And that is a ratio of about 1 police officer to about 700 citizens. That is below the United Nations recommendation of 1:450. A centralized police structure cannot effectively manage local security across 774 local government areas. State and community policing structure must be constitutionally enabled, professionally trained, locally accountable, protected from political misuse. 4, electoral accountability. Strengthen local government autonomy, ensure credible voter registers, institute transparent budgeting, digitalize public finance tracking at state and local government levels. When power moves closer to the people, just like the chairman had cited, governance become more responsive. True federalism is not about weakening Nigeria. It's about strengthening Nigeria through shared responsibility. The reason why everybody is trying to fight to go to Abuja is because of the centralization of the Nigerian resources. When every state is held responsible in terms of its ability to produce what they need, there will be less pressure on the center for people to rush to Abuja. Part 2, leveraging regional minerals and agricultural wealth under true federalism. The middle belt of Nigeria that is called and is known as North Central is Nigeria's strategic wealth belt. The region includes Benue State, Plateau State, Nasarawa State, Kogi State, Niger State, Kwara State, and the Federal Capital Territory. Agricultural powerhouse has been known that the Middle Belt is the agricultural powerhouse of this great country called Nigeria. Agriculture contributes about 24 to 26% of Nigerians' GDP and employs over 35% of the labor force. Yet, post-harvest losses remain between 30 to 40% to weak storage, poor roads, and limited processing. You can just take a test case, just drive to Benue from Makodi going down to Boko. You will see the massive waste of just one product out of many. Something that the government can install a mini factory to process the orange and some of the product that the farmers bring out of their farm. But many times you see them throwing it away because there is no, and there are no preservative structure that has been put in place. So actionable solution. I believe that if we are driving and we're talking about something, we must be able to bring it to our micro level where we can be able to make things happen, to be able to show to the nation what must be done in our small entity. So what are the actionable solution? Regional agro-processing zones, irrigation expansion programs, structured commodity exchanges, agricultural insurance system, youth agri-business innovation hubs. By God's grace, I have established the Dr. Isa El-Buba hub, and it's a training hub that has trained several people. And it has also been able to empower people to build, let me use the word, clusters, professional skills, so that you'll be able to generate wealth for themselves and distribute it among themselves, growing wealth within themselves. So when we look at youth agribusiness innovation hubs, we can look at the various regional states and be able to make sure that this is done. And we can start with small. It doesn't cost us a lot. And so I will encourage that this organization should look at what they can do, primarily to just do something that is small to show that we can start somewhere to be able to give direction. If not, it's going to be from story to story, speeches to speeches, year after year. And every day, Nigerians will always be gathering in seminars and symposiums, and nothing is really coming out of it. The second part of it is mineral wealth. Despite abundant deposit of tin, gold, limestone, iron ore, and barite, solid mineral contribute less than 1% of GDP. Under true federalism, states should share ownership and regulatory authority. Environmental protection must be enforced. Illegal mining must be formalized. It's not coming with bulldozers and coming with policemen arresting and throwing away the people. What you need to do is organize the people, formalize what they are doing, and create a better system for them to be able to mine, and then give revenue to the percentage of what is required. It's just like what I have said. The federal government should not just, like the South, bombing the refineries that people have invented. What they need to do is to make sure that they get these inventors that have invented the mini refineries, formalize them, organize them, make sure that there is a proper structure that will be able to give them and give environmental protection. And so give them what they need in terms of percentage. Government should take her own percentage. That is growing our mental capacity, but not coming and empowering foreign nations and then looking for refineries from the international world. They did not do that to their own people. They did not destroy the brain and the mental capacity, the creativity of their own people. But what we do in this part of the world, we destroy the creative ability of our people, and we are still looking out for investors. And investors don't come, but rather come through our own people, mine our own land, take away our resources, and leave us bankrupt. So environmental protection must be enforced. Illegal mining must be formalized. Local value addition must replace raw export. I don't see the reason why we should be exporting our gold. We should refine our gold and then export it to the international community. I don't see the reason why we should be exporting our cocoa. We should refine our cocoa product here and export it to the international community. That means adding value to the local materials that we have. Because when you look at the treasures that God has given to Nigeria, Nigeria holds 40% of the global need in terms of raw material. So Nigeria is so rich. We should not be depending on oil only. These minerals that we have should contribute to the sustainability of this country. So on mineral wealth, my counsel is that we must localize value addition, and we must make sure that we replace this raw export. Part 3, confronting corruption and institutional capture. Restructuring without fighting corruption will only decentralize corruption. Nigeria has consistently ranked poorly on global corruption perception indexes. Billions of dollars have been lost over decades through inflated contracts, ghost workers, oil theft, illegal mining, budget padding, procurement fraud, and corruption from the average Nigerian person. That even in the smallest unit, you realize that Nigerians have become so greedy that they destroy the system. So whatever you do, you have to tackle the issue of transforming the mindset of the Nigerian people. Corruption undermines security funding, infrastructural development, youth employment, and public trust. What must be done? Full digitalization of public procurement. I see the argument going on, for instance, in the National Assembly, talking about the transmission of result real time and mandatory. And I hear the argument, oh, we don't have enough network and network coverage and all of that. In the 21st century, that villagers are even transferring money through POS. If villagers can transfer money through POS, I have traveled to every state in this country, and the level of coverage in this country is virtually, it's almost 98% coverage. The places where you don't find coverage, you just move a few meters and just stand from here, just make adjustment, signal will drop. So that means that we can transmit our result real time. We can digitalize our system. We have very, very brainy young population. And so the way we can solve it is for us to engage ourselves in the digital platform. Number 2, open budget portals at federal and state levels where every citizen can watch at the activities of their budget. Number 3, mandatory asset declaration transparency. I don't see the reason why someone who just became a local government chairman and in less than 3 years, he becomes a billionaire. And yet, the Nigerian traditional rulers and the Nigerian people will celebrate the thief. That means that we Nigerians, we have the issue, we have the problem. If we are going to talk about regionalization, we must solve certain things by ourselves and restore public trust. So that means mandatory asset declaration transparency, protection for whistleblowers, people that inform us of what is going on. We give them the right protection, and also independent prosecutionary authority insulated from political interference. Fiscal responsibility compliance at all tiers. Restructuring must come with transparency architecture. So I take us to the part 4 of my lecture this morning. Terrorism, banditry, and national security. Nigeria faces multiple security threats. Insurgency in the northeast, banditry in the northwest, and Fulani killer headsmen conflict in the north central that the government tried to garnish it and cover it with a diplomatic language, father headers conflict. There is nothing like father headers conflict. There is terrorism that is empowered by a terrorist group that have been empowered to carry out a mission of eliminating the people from a particular region and take over their region. When you call a thing by its name, truth will bring deliverance. The kidnapping across regions, groups such as Boko Haram, Islamic State West Africa Province, the Fulani killer headsmen have caused devastating loss of life. Armed criminal networks operate across forests and borders corridors. It is important to state clearly here, criminality must never be allowed to flourish in this region and in the state of Nigeria. Terrorism has no tribe, and so it must be dealt with as it should be dealt with. It should not be covered because it is my tribal people that are carrying out what they are doing, and so we give them a cover. Banditry has no religion. That means that if we're confronting it, whether we're Muslims or we're Christians, we confront banditry and call it by its name. And don't, because it is a particular people from your own religious background, you give them a cover. While some violent actors claim ethnic and pastoral identities, millions of law-abiding, also Fulani citizens, and other ethnic groups across Nigeria are peaceful and productive Nigerians. The enemy is criminality, and that criminal must be dealt with, and we must free ourselves from ethnicity. Security reforms that is required, state policing with federal oversight standard, forest security task forces with technology support, drones and surveillance. I have challenged the federal government of Nigeria that I don't see the reason why our military officers and our police should be going to the battlefront or the battlefield with just the normal traditional weapon on their hands when the world has gone digital. That from a sitting room you can deploy the necessary instrument and wipe away the killers. One soldier killed, Nigeria has lost so much. And so when you protect the citizen that are really paying the premium price, you redeem the country. I was talking to one of the top government officials, the secretary to the federal government, and I gave them an example and I said, I saw on your budget how much you're buying drones for. You don't need to buy some of these sophisticated drones. There are drones that will be able to give you a visibility of about 30 kilometers. And so that means 30 kilometers you'll be able to see who are coming in, which other, whether terrorists, whether invaders, whatever, from whatever direction. And from there, the officers in charge, all they will need to do is to launch what is required to dislodge these forces. But we cannot be running with our hillocks and troops and then we'll be ambushed, wiped away, killed, and then these brainless people will continue with their wickedness. It means that if we want to get things right, we must deploy. And how much is it? I told the secretary to the federal government, I said to him, a drone is less than $3,000. But in your budget, you put $40,000. That's how wicked Nigeria is to itself. That's how wicked Nigerians are to themselves. There must be border control modernization. I'm hearing of some people talking about building wall around our borders. In this 21st century, you don't need to build a wall. You have a satellite that will be able to tell you what is going on around your borders. If there is proper surveillance, using technology, you'll be able to save a lot. The same money you're going to deploy in building wall around your borders with the stretch of Nigerian border, you will be able to do a lot in building infrastructure that will stop this invasion by terrorists into our country. And then number 5, arms mop-up program. Then livestock modernization and ranching framework to reduce land conflict. I don't see in any way where a government will try to institutionalize, let me use the word land grabbing, grab the land and give it to some people to run their business. What the federal government can do is for the federal government to provide a system where a farmer can go to the farm, can go to the bank, collect loan, build a ranch, run it, and pay back. But it should not be that a particular tribe should be given more privilege than other people. There should be a balanced modernization in terms of ranching, because that is the way to go. Animals cannot be walking on the road, on the highway in the 21st century when we can actually reduce the stress in terms of the farmers. So security must combine force with economic alternative. Lastly, democracy and the danger of one-party drift. A healthy democracy requires strong opposition, competitive elections, and institutional independence. Because whatever we're talking about, if we don't have a democratic system, all that we're going to be doing here is a waste. You must have a system that is working. You must have members of the House of Assembly, the people that we're sending there, that are credible. It is so amazing to be able to see that people that talk about conviction for a new Nigeria, give them a little exposure to money, they will change their conviction. We cannot get the right people in the National Assembly if we don't work on ourselves. Because whatever paper we're presenting here, you need people to be able to pass that in the National Assembly. Stand to make sure that what is supposed to be done is done. The Middle Belt must be called Middle Belt. The Far North, every region must be called by its name. But the National Assembly must be saved from this rubber-stamp National Assembly. A healthy democracy requires strong opposition, competitive elections, and institutional independence. When political space shrinks, accountability weakens, patronage network expands, public debates decline, corruption deepens. Nigeria must guard against electoral manipulation, judicial compromise, suppression of dissent, and concentration of power. Restructuring must reinforce pluralism, not centralized dominance. Strong institutions must outlive strong individuals. Nigeria must go beyond trying to cycle itself around an individual, but institutions must survive beyond the person. This one-party state that we're driving this country through cannot and must not stand, because we must get things right if we're going to get the regions to function properly. So therefore, ensuring this symposium produces action, not just speeches. Many conferences in Nigeria end with communique that gather dust. We must be different. We must be different, because, for instance, for me coming here, it took a lot. It took a lot for me to spare an hour to be here. And so also with the people that are on the high table, and so also with you. Time is of essence. And whatever we do, we must make sure it doesn't go the way of others. Immediate 30-day action plan. This is my submission to you. Number one, establish a Middle Belt restructuring working group within the next 7 days. Number two, draft a policy memorandum on constitutional amendment within the next 21 days. Number three, engage National Assembly representative from the regions. Number four, publish a public communique with measurable targets. Number five, launch a digital accountability dashboard. Number six, convey quarterly progressive reviews. What are we doing? Where are we right now? What have we been able to accomplish? Number seven, form a peace and security multi-stakeholder council. Within the next 90 days, host a technical policy roundtable. Engage traditional rulers formally. Develop a regional economic blueprint. Commission independent data study. This symposium must become a policy movement. In conclusion, a call to national rebirth. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, history will not remember our anger. It will remember our architecture. Restructuring is not rebellion. It is responsibility, and it is a responsible redesign. It is about making the people count. It is about turning mineral wealth into schools, turning agriculture into prosperity, turning diversity into strength, turning insecurity into stability, turning corruption into accountability, turning fear in the Middle Belt and in Nigeria into hope. Nigeria of our dream is possible, but it requires courage, it requires clarity, it requires collective action. Let this symposium mark the beginning of structured transformation, not another ceremonial gathering. May God bless the Middle Belt. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you, and God bless you.
You can do well by putting all your hands together for that wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. That was a rich presentation. Don't know if this presentation, the secretariat, we can get it so that we can receive this presentation, because it's going to form a pathway for us as soon as we are settled. Thank you very much. I think the organizers will do us well to make sure we get this particular paper presentation from Prophet Isa El-Buba. All right, very quickly, this event, just for your information, this event is broadcast live on Impact TV. So it's something that it's what the world is watching and the world is also listening. So I call on Mr. Ajayi to take the next item. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Of course, we are going to call the next speaker. But before then, permit me to recognize High Chief Ben Ayo Abereoro, who is the National President of Okun People's Front, Yoruba Peoples of Kogi State. You are welcome to the program. Also, His Royal Highness Chief Benjamin Ngugana. You are welcome. He's a third chief of Plateau State here. And of course, we have Princess Oyerunke Akelulu, of Concerned Yoruba Mothers Foundation. Madam Princess Oyerunke, you are welcome. Of course, Reverend Dr. Raymond Omeni-Pius, National Secretary of the Patriots Movement all the way from Imo State. You are welcome, Reverend. Well, one of our speakers is here in person of Professor Elias Nankap. Please, Professor Nankap, please come over to the IT wall here. Please, please let's welcome him with a round of applause. I saw him in the hall just a moment now. Well, maybe he stepped out. Yes, we have moved far, and we want to assure you that we will not bore you for too long. For that reason, I want to quickly call on the next speaker to come over, and that's President of Hajia, Princess Halima Turaki Tijani. Hajia, please let's welcome her with a round of applause. Thank you very much. You are welcome, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, before we receive the news, the next speaker, please, I don't know, can we all be on our feet, please? Let's all be on our feet. I know we've been sitting for too long. As adults, we've been sitting for too long. Let's just have a little stretch for 1 minute. You can exchange pleasantries for those that you've not done that. Please, let's meet and greet for like 1 minute. Just stretch your legs. I know our fathers will understand this better. Yeah, thank you very much. I saw one woman stretching. Hey, they say, hi, thank you very much, MC. This is good. All right. Thank you very much. You can now take your seat, please. Thank you. All right, the next speaker. Thank you, ma'am.
Distinguished leaders, statesmen, the prophet in the house, Prophet Isa El-Buba, all respected dignitaries, statesmen, respected elders, party stakeholders, civil society actors, youth leaders, resilient, and honorable delegates from all across Plateau State, fellow Nigerians, I wish to begin by appreciating the Rebirth Group, an initiative of the New Nation Enlightenment Foundation, for convening this important symposium. This gathering here in Jos is not just another conference. It is the grand conclusion of national conversation held across Ibadan, Kaduna, Plateau, Enugu, and Port Harcourt. It represents a collective yearning. I believe it also represents a shared conviction that Nigeria must re-examine its foundations in order to build a federation that is just, a federation that is peaceful and prosperous. I would like to start by saying my name. I'm also standing here for someone, which is the president of the Voice of Women in Nigeria Leadership Initiative, Princess Halima Tijani Turaki. Standing in for her is the National Secretary, Voice of Women in Nigeria National Leadership Initiative. I would like to start with a quote from a great leader, Abraham Lincoln, which said, "The ballot is stronger than the bullet." This powerful statement reminds us that real power does not come from force. It comes from the people. It comes from the ballot. I will agree with this statement, and I would like you to agree with this, which says trust comes freely. And this trust comes from the people. Restructuring is not merely about redrawing lines of authority. It is about redefining ownership. It is about ensuring that power truly resides with the people. And that is why the sub-theme for this today is democratizing political representation. That is making the people count in the new federal arrangement. It's central to success of any restructuring effort that we have to plan. If restructuring does not deepen representation, it will remain cosmetic. It means it's just a decoration, like a surface change and no real improvement. If it does not empower citizens, it will remain incomplete. If it does not make every Nigerian feel counted, feel heard, feel seen, it will not deliver the Nigeria of my dreams, the Nigeria of our dreams. When Lincoln made this statement, the ballot is stronger than the bullet, he was reminding the world that the strength of democracy is not in weapons or intimidation, but in participation, when citizens are allowed to choose freely, when their votes truly count. Democracy becomes stronger than any conflict. The ballot represents legitimacy. It represents consent. It represents the collective voice of the people. Nigeria, as we are aware of, operates a federal system designed to accommodate our ethnic, religious, cultural, and regional diversity. Yet, many citizens still feel distant from governance. They feel unheard. They feel excluded. Most of the times, what we experience is that political influence often appears concentrated among a few elites, while the ordinary citizen watches from afar. Democratizing political representation is not a theoretical exercise. It means correcting that imbalance. It means ensuring that leadership structures reflect the diversity, interest, and aspiration of the Nigerian people. It means that we must see to it that governance is participatory, inclusive, accountable, and transparent, especially as we discuss a new federal arrangement and a possible constitutional framework. What this means is that the political space is open so that leadership is not limited to a small circle. It means ensuring that governance reflects the true face of the people. It means that the ordinary citizen, the trader, for instance, in Terminus Market, the farmer in Bokos, that teacher in the primary school, and the young student in the university. It means that the ordinary citizen and the trader, which I've mentioned, or the young graduate must see a pathway into civic engagement. Today, I stand here to address this subject under the pillars that determine whether democracy merely exists on paper or as an idea, or should I say a wish, or what is truly works in practice. And those pillars are: 1, inclusion; 2, accessibility; 3, accountability; 4, trust. Inclusion requires bringing everyone to the table. It requires bringing everyone to the table. Mahatma Gandhi said several years ago, freedom is not worth having if it does not include the freedom to make mistakes. He tries to tell us that democracy must create room for active citizenship. True freedom is not selective. It allows new voices to emerge, to grow, and to contribute. Inclusion in political representation requires deliberate actions. That means women has to be decision making. Women has to be in decision making, because women constitute nearly half of Nigerians' population. Yet they occupy a very small percentage of elective offices. When we say inclusion, we are saying that women should be part of economic planning, legislative processes, and executive decisions. It means removing structural barriers and supporting policies such as gender-sensitive reforms that allow competent women, not family members, not friends, but competent women who can compete fairly. By inclusion, we also mean youth participation beyond mobilization. Our young people must not be remembered only during election campaigns or to paste posters. Inclusion means organizing mentorship programs, leadership training, and lowering barriers to political public involvement so that capable young Nigerians can aspire for office without being discouraged by excessive nomination fees or political gatekeeping. Inclusion also requires fair internal party processes, which implies that democracy begins within political parties. We are talking about transparent primaries, reduced financial barriers, and credible candidate selection processes, and ensuring that representation is based on merit, not only influence. Inclusion reduces tension. The truth is, when people see themselves reflected in leadership, they defend democracy instead of resisting it. I will move to the second pillar, which is accessibility. Accessibility means taking governance closer to the people. The price of apathy towards public affairs is to be ruled by inferior men. A quote from Plato. When people stop taking part in politics because they feel ignored or disconnected, positions of power get occupied without proper questioning or accountability. Accessibility ensures that politics is not distant or by the people as something mysterious. It actually requires structured and regular community engagement. Accessibility requires a structured and community engagement. Usually, what we see happen is that during election season, as we have now, we see politicians making moves. We see governance in action, but that should not be the case. Leaders must hold periodic town hall engagement where citizens can ask direct questions and receive honest responses. When looking at accessibility, we are simply referring to a clear communication of policies. Government policies must be explained in simple languages, not ambiguity, not terminologies that confuses the people the more. If citizens do not understand how a policy affects their daily lives, participation weakens, because such policies seem foreign to them, like a mystery that needs special decoding system. So those policies must be made clear to the people. Thirdly, accessibility means strengthening the local governments. Clearly, the local governments are the closest to the people, right? And you believe with me that without the grassroots, there will be no federal government. So the government, the grassroots is the closest to the local government. Granting real autonomy and financial independence ensures that development reaches the grassroots. Generally speaking, where there is accessibility, it transforms democracy from being a theory into life experience. The third pillar is accountability. Power must answer to the people. Power must answer to the people in terms of accountability. We can all chorus this. If you can chorus this with me, and I'm quoting this, absolute power corrupts. Can you respond? Absolute power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. Thank you. Indeed, power is a true test of character. When power is left unchecked, it can easily be abused. Even any well-intentioned leader can also become disconnected from the people if there are no system of oversight and accountability. That is why democracy is not just about electing leaders. It is about ensuring that those leaders remain answerable to the people. In the context of restructuring and a new federal arrangement, it implies that if we entrust powers to state and local governments but fail to build strong accountability mechanisms, we risk decentralizing corruption instead of deepening democracy. Restructuring must therefore go hand in hand with responsibility. Furthermore, accountability means that power must never become anybody's personal property. It must remain public trust. Leaders must provide measurable results. I mean, explain how public funds are used. They must submit to institutional checks and remain open to scrutiny. There has to be transparent budgeting, credible elections, independent institutions, and accessible feedback systems. These are not optional. They are safeguards against the dangers Lord Acton warned about when he said, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Therefore, accountability demands for a clear performance benchmarks where campaign promises must translate into measurable targets with timelines and budget clarity. It also demands for transparent reporting, where government should provide regular updates on progress, challenges, and adjustments. Also, accountability demands for independent institutions, where we have strong electoral bodies, anti-corruption agencies, and judicial independence that are essential to ensure that no office is above scrutiny. And the last on this is accountability. Accountability demands functional feedback mechanisms, one that ensures that citizens have accessible channels to report grievances, suggest improvements, and monitor projects. Accountability builds legitimacy, and without it, we know how suspicion grows fast. Finally, the last of the pillar is trust, which is the foundation of democracy. According to Stephen Covey, trust is the glue of life. It is the foundational principle that holds all relationships. Distinguished leaders, fellow citizens, trust is what transforms promises into belief, policies into confidence, and governance into something people genuinely feel. In Nigeria, trust is earned when there is consistency between words and actions. When citizens see that manifestos are not just words on paper but are implemented. When appointment at all levels reflect competence and fairness, rather than favoritism. When public projects like roads, schools, hospitals, and security measures are completed and maintained. The emphasis is on maintain. When all these are maintained, then we have democracy. When citizens see the manifestos are not just words on paper, but are implemented, when appointment at all levels reflect competence, we have democracy. Conversely, you agree with me that when promises are broken, when projects are delayed or abandoned halfway, when appointments are politically motivated, and when corruption goes unpunished, trust declines. And without trust, inclusion, accessibility, accountability cannot flourish. Trust is what binds the federation together. It is what ensures that citizens feel confident to participate, to speak up, and to defend democracy. When trust thrives, every Nigerian sees that they truly count, that their voices matters, and that the federation works not for the few, but for all. A quick look at Nigeria's federal reality. Let us now consider how this applies to our federal arrangement. Nigeria's federal structure includes 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, a bicameral National Assembly, and constitutionally recognized local governments. Yet in practice, power remains heavily centralized. Fiscal control, resource allocation, and limited autonomy for states and local governments often prevent citizens from feeling genuinely connected to decision making. This centralization fuels mistrust. It leaves the citizen asking, are decisions being made for the people or for political elites? Will my voice ever be heard? Does my participation truly matter? Trust bridges this gap. When the federation delivers results, functional local government, transparent budgeting, responsive policies, and visible progress, citizens see themselves reflected in governance. They know that the system is not only for the few, but for all. Trust turns participation into confidence, vote into voice, and federal structures into real benefit that the people feel every day. Inclusion, accessibility, and accountability may open the doors, but trust ensures that citizens walk through them, fully confident that they belong and that their voices have real stake in governance, and that the Federation works for them. Key challenges to democratic representation. There are challenges to democratic representations. Let us now look at the challenges that stand in the way of true democratic representation in Nigeria. Think of it as visiting an exhibition where each display tells a story. Each challenge is a story the nation must acknowledge and confront. First, elite domination of politics. Look around and you will see that political spaces are often reserved for wealthy and connected. The high nomination fees, political gatekeeping, and clear party structures make it difficult for ordinary citizens to participate. This is not just a barrier. It is a signal that democracy is close to many who should be heard. Second, the issue of electoral irregularities. We have all witnessed elections where votes are bought, counted unfairly, or manipulated. When the people's choice is stolen or distorted, trust is broken. The ballot, remember, must be stronger than the bullet, but today, sometimes it feels weaker. Thirdly, gender inequality. It is another challenge. Nearly half of our population are women, yet their voices are often absent in legislative chambers and executive offices, and the few we have there are being silenced or frustrated. Women, true democracy cannot thrive when half population remain sidelined. Fourth, we also have faced the challenge of weak local government autonomy. Our local governments are meant to be the closest link between governance and the people. Yet, state interference and limited financial independence often render them powerless. Development are delayed, voices go unheard, and communities remain distant from the decisions that shape their lives. Finally, marginalization of minority groups. When communities feel excluded or unheard, resentment grows, regional tension rise, and the dream of a united, inclusive federation becomes fragile. We cannot claim democracy is working if large groups of citizens feel invisible. Moving from challenges to action. Having identified these challenges, the question before us today is, what do we do? It is not enough to describe the cracks in the system. We must decide how to repair them. Because every challenge we have mentioned is not a dead end. It is an invitation for reform. If early domination shuts the door, reforms should reopen it. If electoral irregularities weaken the ballot, then reform must strengthen it. If women and youth are sidelined, then reform must deliberately bring them forward. If local governments are weakened, then reform must empower them. If minorities feel excluded, then reform must assure them that they belong. This is where solution becomes urgent. Let us begin with electoral reforms. If citizens are to trust the ballot again, Then, institutions like the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, must be strengthened, not just in words, but in law, in funding, and in independence. Technologies such as beavers, as we have used during the last elections, must not merely exist, but must function transparently. Electoral malpractice must carry real consequences. When wrongdoings have no consequences, of course, democracy has no protection. Next, we must address the cost of political participation. We see how hugely expensive nomination forms cost. Some cost millions of nairas. This ultimately makes democracy become a marketplace. It makes democracy become what, people? A marketplace. Reducing financial barriers and reforming internal party systems will ensure that competence, not wealth alone, determine access to leadership. Then comes decentralization of power and fiscal federalism. A federation cannot thrive when authority is overly centralized. We need the state and local governments to have meaningful autonomy, not symbolic powers. Also, development must be responsive to local realities. When governance is closer to the people, it becomes more relevant and more accountable. We must also institutionalize gender and youth inclusion policies, not token inclusion, not seasonal mobilization, but structured opportunities. Let's see leadership pipelines. Let's see mentorship systems. And also have fair representation mechanisms that allow emerging voices to grow into national leadership. Civic education must be strengthened. Citizens must understand not only how to vote, but why their votes have meaningful representation. Civil society organizations, community groups, and educational institutions must work together to build an informed electorate. And finally, we must embrace digital transparency platforms, a system that allows citizens to track projects, monitor budgets, and report governance concerns. Transparency reduces suspicion. Visibility builds confidence. These are not abstract ideas. They are practical steps. They are achievable. They are very necessary. The way forward. You agree with me that reforms do not implement themselves. So, the way forward requires courage. Political parties must democratize internally. Leaders must welcome scrutiny rather than resist them. Institutions must act independently, not selectively. And citizens must refuse apathy. Such mentalities like ignoring elections, staying silent about bad governance, or the habit of complaining privately but never participating, or even saying the usual phrase, nothing will ever work in Nigeria. No be Nigeria will be. Are you doing good to yourself by doing that? Democracy is not a spectator sport. It demands civic engagement. If we restructure without deepening representation, we merely rearrange power. But if we restructure with inclusion, accessibility, accountability, and trust, we transform power. In conclusion, democratizing political representation is not just a concept for discussion. it is a responsibility for action. It is the foundation upon which restructuring must stand. If we are to draft articles of federation, if we are to propose a new constitutional framework, if we are to convene a conference of all Nigerians, then the central question must remain: how will this new arrangement ensure that every Nigeria truly counts? Restructuring without representation will only redistribute power among elites. But restructuring with deepened democracy will return power to the people. As Mahatma Gandhi put it, the future depends on what we do in the present. In essence, the Nigeria we desire tomorrow depends on the reforms we pursue today. The Nigeria of our dream will not emerge from slogans. It will emerge from courageous reforms that make governance inclusive, decentralized, and genuinely participatory. If the ballot is truly stronger than the bullet, then our responsibility is clear. We must protect the integrity of public involvement. We must widen the doors of leadership. We must ensure that governance in all states reflects the hopes of its people. As this symposium concludes and as a conference of all Nigerians prepares to deliberate on a new constitutional vision, let us ensure that whatever framework emerges from this historic process does one thing clearly: that every Nigerian must count. Thank you.
All right, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, can you put your hands together for Mrs. Joy Teso, the National Secretary of Voice of Women. Thank you very much. I want to beg that all those presentations, I know the secretariats are ready, I don't know, so that we can have all of them, probably e-copy or printed out, so that we can digest. That was the thought of Princess Halima Tijani Turaki through the voice of Mrs. Joy Teso. Please, one more time, let's put our hands together for her. Thank you for well representation. Permit me